I had in my college life, philosophy was my subject was there. At that time, we were taught about metaphysics, epistemology, etc. But I had no occasion to speak on this subject after joining the institution. But my life has been changed. Now, after a long time, I am seeing this subject. This is academical discussion. I think this has got no actual connection with spiritual life. I was taught by our spiritual guide, we have to forget everything of this world. Whatever you learn, everything is worldly knowledge. You have to restart. Although, yes, but there is some connection. Metaphysics means theoretical philosophy of existence and knowledge. But that knowledge is not the actual knowledge, it is the intellectual knowledge. Knowledge acquired by intellect. Theoretical, you say theoretical philosophy. It has got a practical application. Philosophy regarding the ultimately God and soul. They also dealt with this subject. But intellectually. So I want to draw your attention about the difference of approach of philosophers, Western philosophers and Indian philosophers. I had the occasion to go through philosophies of India and also Western philosophy. It is very fine to say, we say Darshan Shastra, the philosophy, in our words we say Darshan Shastra. But Darshan Shastra is not synonymous with philosophy. We don't find any other appropriate word. So use the word philosophy. Philosophy means philosophia. Philosophia, love of knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Knowledge acquired by empiricism. Empiricism, you know, it is scientific process, observation and experiment. They do not believe any other procedure. The science, procedure of science is observation and experiment. Through our sense organs, through our intellect, material intellect and mind, whatever we can feel, that is real, according to them. But Darshan Shastra is different from philosophy. Darshan means, what is the meaning of darshan? Darshan means to have a vision of the ultimate reality. For that, a scripture is there, self-revealed scripture. Through revelation we can have vision, we can have feeling of the ultimate reality. It is called Darshan Shastra. As for example, I want to refer some philosophy of German philosophers. You have heard the name of Immanuel Kant. You keep it. Immanuel Kant, a great intellectual giant of German. And I had been to German, I saw on road, Leibniz Road. Leibniz was also a great German philosopher, Hegel also great German philosopher. And Immanuel Kant, in his critical philosophy, he said, the human beings cannot have any knowledge of thing in itself. Thing as it is, thing in itself. Because human beings have got no capacity to know it. It is his contention. Human beings know thing as it appears, not thing as it is. And that also by sensibility and understanding. sensibility through sensibility, human beings put it into forms, and by understanding, they put it in category. Then they have got the knowledge of thing as appears, not thing in itself. At most they can know universal and necessary truth of thing as it appears, not thing as it is. Because there is no capacity in human being to know the thing in itself. By this contention, Immanuel Kant indirectly has substantiated the contention or philosophy of Indian philosophers, at least of the theistic group, not atheistic group. There are two groups in Indian philosophy. Those who do not believe in the existence of God and those who have got no faith in the self-revealed scriptures, Vedas. They are atheist group. And the theist group, they believe in the Vedas and they believe in the existence of God. This theistic group, they say that Supreme Lord, ultimate deity, cannot be comprehended by the sense organs of human beings and subtle sense organs, you may say, subtle senses, intellect and mind. You will find evidence in the Gita. I think you have gone through Gita. When I was in Phoenix, I was taken in different places. My difficulty is this: I belong to India, Bengal. So my intention is something Bengali tradition. And it will be difficult for you to understand me. And I also find difficulty to understand you. Your way of speaking is different, voice is different. I have to hear very attentively. And you also find difficulty to understand me. Is it not? My intention is different. So you have to hear me very attentively. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand me. This is what we are moving in India. And we have got that way of speaking. We delivered speeches in English in different places. Our Guru Maharaj also addressed gatherings in English. And we heard many English speeches, but all in Indian intonation. That we can understand. When we come out, they say quickly something which we don't understand. When I was in our own birthplace, one Englishman, he asked me, "What Lord?" I couldn't understand. "What Lord? What class do you read in?" What Lord do you read? Like that. Our pronunciation is different. Although I know some words of English, but that also is defective. I've got no good hold over English. I should try to express my thoughts. You have to hear me attentively. You have to excuse me for my defective language, wrong language. Now, you see here, in our Indian philosophy, the theistic group, they substantiate that transcendental Supreme Lord who is beyond the comprehension of the senses, gross and subtle senses. It has been established by them. And that was established by the contention of Immanuel Kant indirectly. Indirectly, he is substantiating the view of the Indian philosopher, indirectly, that we cannot know the Supreme Lord. There is no capacity in the human being to know the thing in itself, thing as it is, the ontological side of the thing. On the morphological aspect of the thing, we can know thing as it appears, at most the universal necessary truth. Thing as it appears by understanding In the understanding there is one capacity to understand the universal necessary truth, which is a priori, innate in the capacity of understanding. But there is no other capacity in human being to know the thing in itself. But German philosopher Hegel said, no, we can know the thing in itself also by speculative reasoning. But British philosopher, you have heard the name, F.H. Bradley, perhaps? British philosopher, a great philosopher. British philosopher said, when there is reasoning, a person who argues and the object of the argument, there is difference. So, by arguing, by intellectual wranglings, by reasoning, we cannot have contact with the thing in itself. But thing in itself, we can know through immediate presentation and feeling. We can know through immediate presentation and feeling. When thing shows itself, then we can know. We cannot know. Thing in itself is there through immediate presentation and feeling. Intellectually they proceed intellectually to explain philosophical subject, very intricate. But they are coming to the same point of this theistic group of philosophers, Indian philosophers. They also say like this. You see, you have to very attentively, very deeply you have to think this. If reality is reality, when you say reality, reality is always existing. Actual reality is always existing. When actuality is always existing, it cannot be manufactured in the factory of intellect and mind of a finite human being. Human being is finite. It has got birth. It remains for some time, and dies. It is non-eternal. It has got limitation. Human being is finite. His intellect is finite. His mental capacity is finite. Anything determined by the finite intellect and finite mental capacity is also finite. How he can determine his own cause infinite? It is irrational. Human being is finite. His intellect is finite. His mental capacity is finite. Whatever human being will determine by their sense organs or mind and intellect, that will be also finite. Anything which will be manufactured in the factory, you may say, in the factory of intellect and mind of a human being, that will be intellectually concocted thing. That is not reality. Human being, a finite being, cannot produce the ultimately. We are coming from the ultimate. Ultimate is the cause of all causes. How the effect can produce it? We are coming from them. We are not cause of all causes. It is demonstrated by their own life.